But what if I told you that this ordinary coin could be worth over $1 million? Sounds impossible, right? But today we are diving into the shocking story of the 2003 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, a coin that has quietly been turning ordinary Americans into overnight millionaires. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you might just be reaching into your own pocket change with a whole new sense of hope. The story starts with something deceptively simple: the Lincoln cent. Since 1909, Abraham Lincoln's face has adorned the penny, a symbol of history that millions of Americans touch every day. Most of these coins are just that, coins. They pay for a cup of coffee, a parking meter, or a candy bar. But among these millions of everyday coins, some hide secrets that can make collectors pay unimaginable sums. The 2003 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is one of those secrets. It looks normal. It feels normal. But if you know what to look for, it can be a ticket to extraordinary wealth. So what makes this particular penny so special? The magic lies in errors, imperfections that the human eye might miss, but which can transform a simple penny into a treasure worth more than a small house. One of the most sought-after errors in 2003 pennies is the doubled die, where the image on the coin appears to be slightly stamped twice, creating a shadow effect. The doubling can be subtle, hiding in plain sight on Lincoln's profile, or the words, "In God We Trust." Imagine the shock of a collector who discovers this doubling, realizing they hold something that others would pay tens of thousands for, and in pristine condition, the value skyrockets into the millions. But doubling is just the beginning. Another rare flaw on the 2003 no-mint mark penny is the off-center strike. Most pennies are perfectly centered, but sometimes the die presses slightly off, cutting off part of Lincoln's shoulder or his face. On an ordinary coin, this might seem like a minor imperfection, even a defect. But in the world of rare coins, it's gold. Collectors crave these anomalies because they are unique, one-of-a-kind markers of history. The rarer the mistake, the higher the value, and in the top grades, some of these pennies have reportedly sold for more than $1 million. Can you imagine holding a coin in your hand that could buy you a car, a luxury vacation, or even a down payment on a home, just because a minting machine slipped for a fraction of a second? You might be thinking, this has to be a fluke. Surely only professional collectors know about these coins. But the truth is, ordinary people stumble across them every day. Some have found these treasures in piggy banks, forgotten jars, or under couch cushions. And once word gets out, the rush begins. Auction houses report fierce competition, with bidders willing to fight tooth and nail for the chance to own a 2003 no-mint mark Lincoln cent with significant errors. The thrill isn't just in the money, it's in holding a piece of history, a tiny object that embodies decades of craftsmanship, chance, and human curiosity. Now, let's talk about market value. Top-grade 2003 no-mint mark pennies with the most dramatic errors have been reported to sell for as much as $1.1 million. That's not a typo. $1.1 million for a coin you could have found in your spare change. And the reality is, it's not just hype. Verified sales from major coin auctions confirm these astonishing figures. The market for rare Lincoln cents has been growing steadily, and with the scarcity of high-grade error coins, the value only climbs. Collectors, investors, and treasure hunters alike are watching these coins like hawks. Missing out could mean letting your fortune slip through your fingers without even knowing it. First, check for a mint mark. A missing D or P on a 2003 penny isn't a mistake, it's the key that sets this coin apart. Next, look closely at the design. Are there shadows or doubling on Lincoln's face, his coat, or the inscriptions? Does the coin appear off-center? Even subtle differences can make an ordinary penny extraordinary. And remember, condition is everything. A coin with visible wear may still be collectible, but the million-dollar valuations only exist for top-grade, near-perfect examples. Let's pause for a moment and consider the human side of this story. Imagine an ordinary retiree emptying a jar of coins to pay for groceries, and discovering a penny unlike any they've ever seen. The doubling on Lincoln's face catches their eye. Their pulse quickens. Could this be one of those legendary coins? They take it to an expert, a numismatist, and the verdict comes in. 1. Point. $1 million. The excitement, the disbelief, the thrill of holding something so rare, these are the moments that turn ordinary people into legends in the coin collecting world. And it doesn't have to be a story about luck alone. Awareness and knowledge can tip the odds in your favor. Understanding which coins to look for, knowing the subtle indicators of errors, and keeping an eye on market trends can transform your routine coin sorting into a strategic hunt for fortune. Some collectors even make a living traveling, buying rolls of pennies, and examining each one under a magnifying glass for signs of errors. Every 2003 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent they encounter is a potential gold mine. The thrill isn't just financial, it's the excitement of discovery, the suspense of possibility that makes each coin a small adventure in your hand. But here's the twist: these coins are vanishing. As collectors snap them up, the chance for the average person to stumble upon $1 million penny diminishes. The urgency is real. Every jar of pennies you ignore could be hiding a treasure that might never come your way again. And that's why today, this video is more than just information. It's a call to action. It's a reminder that fortune often hides in the most mundane places. That coin jar on your dresser, the pocket change in your wallet, the old coins in your attic, they could be the key to a life-changing moment. The 2003 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of possibility, of hidden value, and of the thrill of discovery. It reminds us that sometimes, incredible opportunities are right under our noses, waiting for us to recognize them. And whether you're a seasoned collector or someone who just happens to be curious, the chance to uncover something extraordinary is real. The stories of million-dollar coins aren't myths. They are happening now, in garages, attics, and coin jars across America. Before you reach for your wallet or rush to a coin shop, remember this: knowledge is power. Learn what to look for, inspect every coin with care, and never underestimate the potential of ordinary change. A single moment of attention, a careful glance at a penny, could be the start of an adventure you'll never forget. The thrill, the suspense, the possibility of wealth, it's all there, waiting in the palm of your hand. And now, as you think about the 2003 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent, consider this question: could the coin you handled this morning, the one you tossed into a cup or let roll across the counter, be the one that changes everything? Could it be the coin that turns a quiet afternoon into a life-altering discovery? The answer is yes. And the only way to find out is to start looking. So don't wait. Dive into your jars, check those rolls of pennies, and examine every 2003 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent you can find. Because somewhere among those ordinary coins lies the extraordinary. And one of those pennies, maybe even yours, could be worth over $1 million. Don't let this opportunity slip by unnoticed. The thrill of discovery is real, and it could be just one coin away. Remember, fortune favors the curious, the vigilant, and the bold. That tiny copper disc in your hand might be more than a penny. It might be the key to your next great adventure, your first million, and the story you'll tell for a lifetime. Keep searching, keep learning, and keep dreaming, because the 2003 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent is out there, waiting for someone who's ready to recognize its hidden power. Could that someone be you? Your journey starts now. The coins are waiting, the secrets are there, and the thrill of discovery is yours for the taking. One coin, one moment, one life-changing opportunity. And all it takes is a careful eye, a bit of knowledge, and the courage to believe that even the smallest things can hide the biggest treasures. Imagine holding a coin in your hand, the kind of coin you've seen thousands of times in your pocket, at the store, even in the couch cushions. It's a 2019 Lincoln cent ordinary, right? Think again. Because what if I told you that this very coin, a coin most people toss without a second glance, could be worth up to $1.2 million? One coin. One moment of discovery. One life-changing opportunity hiding in plain sight. Sounds impossible, doesn't it? Yet, for those who know what to look for, the 2019 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent is rewriting what we thought we knew about modern coin collecting. And today, we're diving deep into the secrets, the errors, the shocking sales, and the strategies to spot a coin that could turn your spare change into a fortune. It all begins with the errors. And make no mistake, errors in modern pennies are not just curiosities. They are golden tickets. The 2019 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent is a perfect example. Unlike the mass-produced coins that flood circulation, this penny contains subtle anomalies that only a trained eye, or sheer luck, can catch. Double dies, off-center strikes, misaligned lettering, even faint doubling on the date or the word liberty. These are not mistakes the mint intended. They are opportunities. They are whispers from history telling us that in the chaos of coin production, some coins escape unnoticed, waiting for someone with eyes sharp enough to see their hidden value. Imagine scanning your loose change and suddenly realizing a coin that normally spends a week in your pocket could sell for more than a house. One of the most striking errors collectors are hunting for in the 2019 no-mint Mark penny is the double die obverse. It's a ghostly shadow effect on Lincoln's profile, subtle yet unmistakable once you know where to look. Some coins exhibit doubling in the date itself, the numbers slightly blurred, overlapping as if two coins collided during minting. Others have slight misalignments in the word "I in God we trust." Tiny, almost invisible differences, but the difference between a few cents and hundreds of thousands, or even millions. And then there are the off-center strikes, where the coin's design is shifted, leaving blank metal exposed along one edge. What seems like a flaw to the casual observer is, in fact, a collector's dream. These anomalies make a coin unique in a way that standard, flawless circulation coins can never be. And uniqueness, as any serious collector will tell you, is the currency of wealth in the numismatic world. The market is where the true drama unfolds. You might be thinking, 2019 is just yesterday. How can a modern penny command such jaw-dropping prices? The answer lies in scarcity, condition, and the appetite of serious collectors. Despite millions of pennies minted that year, the era varieties are astonishingly rare. Only a handful, sometimes fewer than 10 coins, emerge with the types of anomalies that collectors crave. And when they do appear, the bidding wars begin. Reports have surfaced of 2019 no-mint Mark Lincoln cents selling for staggering sums, reaching as high as $1.2 million in top condition. One coin, a simple penny, traded hands for the equivalent of a luxury car collection or a down payment on a mansion. Every coin has a story, but the story of the 2019 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent is one of suspense, luck, and sheer disbelief. It challenges the way we see money and value, reminding us that fortune often hides in the most mundane corners of our lives. You might wonder, what makes the 2019 no-mint Mark penny so special compared to other modern coins? It's a combination of production quirks and timing. That year, the U.S. Mint was experimenting with subtle changes in the die processes, trying to increase efficiency while maintaining quality. Small misalignments, doubled dies, or minute shifts in metal flow were rare but inevitable. These production errors are exactly what turn a regular penny into a treasure. And because collectors and investors have become increasingly savvy about spotting these anomalies, the demand for such coins has skyrocketed. Suddenly, your pocket change isn't just loose metal, it's potential wealth waiting to be uncovered. Now, let's talk strategy. How do you find these coins? How do you avoid the disappointment of sorting through countless ordinary pennies without hitting the jackpot? First, patience and attention to detail are your allies. Examine the date carefully. Look for any doubling or inconsistencies in the lettering. Check Lincoln's profile for shadowing or irregularities in the design. A magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe can turn what looks like a standard coin into an extraordinary discovery. Second, context matters. Coins pulled from circulation near mint facilities, coins that have been stored in rolls untouched for years, or coins with a slight toning or color variation can sometimes hide errors more readily than ones that have been heavily circulated. And finally, don't underestimate the power of networking. Connect with numismatic communities, online marketplaces, and coin shows. Other collectors are often the fastest source of insight on newly discovered error coins. Here's where the suspense kicks in. Imagine flipping through a jar of pennies and spotting something unusual. Your heart races. The date looks slightly off. Lincoln's profile seems doubled. You pull out your magnifying glass and check again. Could it really be? Could this be the 2019 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent that has sold for over $1 million? The excitement is real, the stakes are high. One coin could change everything. And history shows, these discoveries are not fantasies. Ordinary people, just like you, have stumbled upon era coins that transformed their financial reality. The tension between disbelief and hope, between casual curiosity and serious investigation, is exactly what makes coin collecting so electrifying. And then there's the thrill of the auction. Imagine listing your coin online or at a high-end numismatic auction. Bidders, some anonymous, some seasoned collectors, scrutinize your listing. They see what you see, or maybe they see something even more extraordinary. The gavel drops. Offers climb higher than you ever imagined. $1.2 million flashes across the final bid. Just like that, your ordinary penny is now an extraordinary asset. That's the climax, the payoff, the realization that opportunity often sits quietly until someone notices. But beyond the wealth, there's something even more compelling about the 2019 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent. It's the story it tells about chance, observation, and the hidden value of everyday objects. We live in a world obsessed with instant gratification, with wealth displayed in headlines and Instagram posts. Yet here, in a coin minted just a few years ago, is a reminder that fortune favors the vigilant, the curious, and the patient. Every time you hold a penny, it could be more than just a penny. It could be a ticket to a new chapter of your life. A chance to say, I found it. I saw it. I seized it. So here's the final thought, the challenge I leave you with. Check your drawers, your old jars, even your loose change in your car or purse. Examine the coins with fresh eyes. Look for subtle shifts, doubling, or anything that seems off. Because one coin could be all it takes. One discovery could change everything. And the 2019 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent is proof that even in our modern world, magic still exists in the most unexpected places. The question is, will you be the one to find it? Will you be the person who turns an ordinary penny into a story worth telling, a fortune worth having, and a memory that lasts a lifetime? Take action now. Don't let these opportunities pass unnoticed. Skin your coins, join collector communities, learn the signs, and most importantly, trust your instincts. Because the next 2019 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent waiting to make history could be closer than you think. The treasure is out there, hidden in plain sight. All it takes is one careful look, 1 second of curiosity, one spark of discovery, and your ordinary change could become extraordinary wealth. The hunt is on, and the payoff? It could be life-changing. Time to check your pockets. Time to look a little closer. Because today could be the day you find a coin that will change everything. The 2019 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent is waiting. Are you ready to discover it? Imagine digging through your old coin jar and stumbling upon a seemingly ordinary 1992 D Lincoln cent. It's just another penny, right? Wrong. Because this tiny copper disc could be hiding a secret worth more than your wildest dreams, up to a staggering $1.3 million if it's in top condition. Yes, one small coin from 1992, minted in Denver, has shocked collectors and turned ordinary people into instant millionaires overnight. But how can a penny, of all things, be worth that much? And how do you know if the one in your pocket is one of the rarest of all? That's exactly what we're uncovering today. And trust me, you won't want to blink. Back in 1992, the US Mint was churning out Lincoln cents by the billions. Most of these coins were destined to jingle around in cash registers, tip jars, and piggy banks, unnoticed and unvalued. But somewhere in the shuffle, a small number were struck with subtle, hidden errors that transformed them from everyday change into treasures that could redefine a collector's life. We're talking about doubling of the die, off-center strikes, or faint anomalies that the casual eye would miss. A slight doubling on the date, a misalignment in the lettering, an unusual ridge pattern. These are the tiny mistakes that can make the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a coin worth over $1 million. It's almost cinematic to think about. A single misstep during production, something as simple as a die shift or a minting irregularity, becomes the key to a fortune. For decades, these errors went unnoticed. People were just paying for their coffee or their groceries, tossing what would later become $1 million coins into drawers or piggy banks. And that's exactly how some of the most valuable 1992 pennies survived intact, untouched, and ready to astonish the right collector. So, what makes the 1992 Lincoln cent so special? For starters, the D mint mark from Denver is crucial. Collectors have identified multiple variations of this coin that carry extraordinary premiums, and the market has proven it. Some of these coins have appeared at auctions with perfectly sharp details, high-grade mint states, and subtle errors that make them incredibly rare. And here's the kicker: market records show that certain specimens have sold for as much as $1.3 million. That's more than the average house in some cities, more than most people make in a lifetime, all for a coin that, at first glance, looks just like the ones in your pocket change. You might be asking yourself, how do you spot these errors? It's not about just looking at the shiny penny in your hand and hoping for the best. Experts use magnification to examine the date, the mint mark, the lettering, and even the tiniest lines on the coin's surface. Look for anomalies like double numbers in the date, inconsistencies in Lincoln's profile, or unusual spacing between letters. These tiny imperfections are the fingerprints of fortune, subtle signs that the coin isn't ordinary. And yes, the difference between a common 1992 penny and one of these rare $1 million specimens can hinge on the smallest detail. But here's the part that makes every collector's heart race. Sometimes these coins are hiding in plain sight. People have found them in pocket change at convenience stores, inside old jars at home, and even in coins given as tips decades ago. The idea that your next grocery run or a forgotten drawer could contain a life-changing penny is the very definition of thrilling. You're literally holding history, and possibly wealth, in the palm of your hand. Now, imagine the suspense of finding one. You check the coin, turn it over, and something catches your eye. A tiny doubling on the date. A slightly misplaced mint mark. Your pulse quickens. Could this really be it? Could this penny, the one you picked up without a second thought, really be worth over $1 million? Collectors have been in that exact position, hands trembling, heart racing, realizing that what looked like mundane pocket change was actually a rare gem. The story of the 1992 Lincoln cent is also about timing. Many of the coins that sold for staggering prices did so because they were preserved in near-perfect condition. That means no scratches, no corrosion, no cleaning that damages the coin's natural luster. Condition matters. A high-grade coin can easily be worth tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars more than the same coin in average condition. That's why collectors emphasize MS, or mint state grading. The higher the number, the more pristine the coin. And that one tiny difference could mean the difference between a few bucks and a seven-figure payday. And let's not forget the human stories behind these coins. Ordinary people, sometimes entirely unsuspecting, have stumbled upon 1992 Lincoln cents in circulation, taken them to experts, and discovered the truth. One family found a stack of pennies in an old jar at their grandparents' house. A casual visit to a local coin dealer turned into a life-changing moment when one of those pennies was identified as an error coin in top condition. The dealer's eyes widened, the appraisal was whispered almost reverently, and suddenly, a jar of forgotten pennies transformed into $1 million discovery. These aren't fairy tales. These are verified sales. Real coins, real collectors, real fortunes. The market for rare coins like the 1992 Lincoln cent is also fascinating. Auction houses, private sales, and collector networks compete aggressively to acquire these coins. Once a true error or high-grade specimen surfaces, it can spark bidding wars that push prices to unprecedented heights. And as more coins are discovered, the rarity only becomes more valuable because collectors want that perfect piece. The laws of supply and demand are amplified in the coin world. Tiny mistakes in production become financial gold mines. Here's a thought that might blow your mind. What if you already own one of these coins without even realizing it? Many people do. They've had the coin in a drawer, a pocket, or a collection for decades, never imagining it could be worth more than the roll of quarters they grabbed it with. That's the beauty of the 1992 Lincoln cent story. The next life-changing discovery could be in your home right now, waiting for you to notice it. It's an invitation to look closer, to study, to learn, and to dream, and it all comes down to one central truth: opportunity is often hidden in plain sight. A penny, a coin we dismiss every day, becomes a vessel for wealth, history, and excitement. The thrill of finding a rare coin, the tension of hoping it's the one, and the eventual revelation, these are experiences that transform ordinary collectors into storytellers, and ordinary coins into legends. So, if you have any 1992 Lincoln cents lying around, it's time to take a closer look. Check the date, scrutinize the mint mark, examine the lines and edges, and if you see something unusual, don't ignore it. Consult a coin expert or a reputable grading service. The next $1.3 million coin might be hiding in your pocket change, in your old coin jar, or tucked away in a forgotten corner. Every coin has a story, but some tell stories that can change your life forever. Think about it: one small coin, minted over 30 years ago, could be the key to turning ordinary savings into extraordinary fortune. The suspense, the rarity, the potential payoff. It's a story that blends history, luck, and opportunity in a way few other collectibles can match. The 1992 Lincoln cent isn't just a coin. It's a treasure, a mystery, and an invitation to dream bigger than you ever thought possible. The final question is this: will you keep walking past your pennies, assuming they're just small change, or will you take a closer look? Because somewhere in the millions of pennies minted in 1992, there's a rare gem with the power to redefine a life. And when that penny finds its rightful collector, the world stops for a moment to acknowledge the magic of discovery, the thrill of a secret revealed, and the reality that sometimes, fortune really does come in the smallest packages. So dig through your coin jars, check that forgotten drawer, and hold each penny in your hand with curiosity. Because the next life-changing discovery, the 1992 Lincoln cent that could be worth over $1 million, might be just waiting for you to find it. Every penny has a story, but some have the power to change your life forever. Don't let yours slip by. But what if I told you that hidden in plain sight, some of these seemingly worthless coins are quietly worth more than a small house? Millions of dollars in some cases. Yes, you heard that right. A coin you might have dropped in a soda machine or left in your wallet could be your ticket to unimaginable wealth. It starts with the year 1995. A year that, for most of us, was just another 90s moment: grunge music, dial-up internet, Beanie Babies ruling the shelves. But for coin collectors, especially those chasing Lincoln cents, 1995 was quietly producing some of the most valuable era coins in modern history. Among them, the 1995 Lincoln cent stands out, not because of how many were made, but because of how some were made wrong. And in the world of rare coins, being wrong can make you rich. Now, before you roll your eyes thinking this is another overhyped story about coins, let's be clear: not every 1995 cent is worth a fortune. Most are still just pennies. But the errors, the hidden flaws that slip past the mint inspectors, those are the ones that can fetch jaw-dropping prices at auctions and private sales. And we're not talking a couple $100. We're talking upwards of $1.4 million for a coin in pristine, top-condition state. Think about that. One tiny coin, minted from copper, no bigger than your fingertip, turning pocket change into a seven-figure jackpot. So what makes a 1995 penny suddenly worth a fortune? The key is in the errors. There are several known variations, but the ones that collectors go crazy over are primarily die cracks, doubled dies, and off-center strikes. A die crack might look like a scratch or a raised line on the coin, but for experts, it's a hallmark of rarity. A doubled die can make lettering or numbers appear doubled, warped, almost like the coin is trying to speak in secret code. And off-center strikes? That's when the coin isn't perfectly aligned during minting, leaving part of Lincoln's face, or the Lincoln Memorial, cut off. These anomalies make the coin unique, and in the collector world, unique equals valuable. Here's a twist that might surprise you. Many of these high-value 1995 cents didn't stay in collections right away. Some were spent. Some were tucked in jars and forgotten for decades. And this is where luck plays a role. Imagine going through a bag of coins you've had since the 90s and suddenly discovering one with a faint doubling on the date and mint mark, or a subtle die crack running across Lincoln's shoulder. Your heart would race. Your pulse would spike. Because that little coin could be your fortune. But the story gets even more dramatic. Auctions for top condition 1995 era pennies have seen bids skyrocket, often shattering records. Some collectors have reportedly paid $1.4 million to secure a pristine specimen. One coin, graded perfectly by professional coin graders, sold in a private sale after fierce bidding. It wasn't just a transaction. It was a life-changing event for both the buyer and the seller. People dream of winning the lottery, but for some, finding a rare coin like this is the real jackpot. And unlike a lottery ticket, a coin is tangible. You can hold it, inspect it, even trace its journey back to the mint in 1995. Now here's a question for you. How many coins are sitting in your house, in your wallet, your car, even under the couch cushions, that could secretly be worth a fortune? Could a small, overlooked penny from 1995 be lurking among them? It's a thrilling thought, isn't it? This isn't just speculation. Hundreds of collectors, dealers, and enthusiasts are constantly on the lookout. Coin shows are buzzing, online marketplaces are exploding with listings, and the hunt for the elusive high-value 1995 penny is hotter than ever. And it's not just the eras themselves that make these coins special. The story behind the minting adds layers of intrigue. 1995 pennies were produced in Denver, a mint known for high-volume output, but every so often, human error or a tiny imperfection in the machinery led to coins with remarkable characteristics. For decades, these anomalies went unnoticed, blending in with everyday change. Then collectors and experts began noticing subtle differences, documenting them, and suddenly, a new market was born. Coins that once seemed ordinary became highly sought-after treasures. Here's where the suspense really ramps up. Not all errors are obvious to the untrained eye. Some of the most valuable 1995 pennies have barely perceptible flaws. You might need a magnifying glass, a trained eye, or even professional grading to truly identify them. One misplaced line, one tiny doubling, could mean the difference between a coin worth 50 cents and a coin worth over $1 million. It's almost like a hidden code written by fate itself, waiting for someone curious enough to decode it. Think about the people who have stumbled onto these pennies. Some were casual collectors, others were completely unsuspecting. There are stories of individuals buying coin rolls at a bank, casually inspecting them at home, and then discovering an error so rare it changed their life overnight. One person reportedly found a 1995 penny with a subtle doubling along the date and mint mark tucked in a bag of coins left by their grandparents. They didn't realize its value until they had it professionally graded. When the final report came back, the number on that paper wasn't 3 digits or 4 digits, it was in the millions. That's a story that sounds like fiction, but it's real, and it's happening more than you might imagine. But here's the kicker. Even among collectors who know what to look for, competition is fierce. As soon as a high-quality 1995 era penny hits the market, bidding wars ignite. Private sales, auctions, online platforms, they're all flooded with enthusiasts willing to pay top dollar. It's not just about the money, it's about prestige, about owning a piece of history, about the thrill of the hunt. And with each sale that breaks records, the mystique of these pennies grows even larger. Now, you might be wondering, is it too late to find one of these coins? Absolutely not. The beauty of coin collecting is that every day presents new opportunities. People still empty old jars, discover coins in rolls, or come across them in unexpected places. What seems like ordinary change could conceal a hidden treasure. And the 1995 Lincoln cent, with its errors and anomalies, remains one of the most captivating targets for both seasoned collectors and new enthusiasts alike. Imagine holding one in your hand, feeling its weight, examining its subtle imperfections under a magnifying glass. That moment is electric. It's not just a coin, it's a connection to history, to the minting process, and to a world where the smallest mistakes can create the greatest rewards. And when you realize that coin in your hand could be worth $1.4 million, that's a moment you'll never forget. It's the kind of moment that inspires lifelong collectors, fuels legends, and changes lives. Check your pennies. Look for that D mint mark. Examine the date, the lettering, the edges, the subtle details that make each coin unique. You don't need a degree to start. You just need curiosity, patience, and a willingness to explore the possibility that what seems ordinary might be extraordinary. Every coin in your pocket could be hiding a story, a history, a fortune. And if you find one of these rare 1995 D-era pennies, you're not just holding a piece of copper, you're holding a piece of destiny. In the end, the 1995 D Lincoln cent is more than a coin. It's a symbol of opportunity, of hidden potential, of the thrilling unpredictability of life itself. It reminds us that sometimes, the things we overlook every day can turn into the most valuable discoveries of our lives. So the next time you reach for a penny, remember this story. You could be holding your ticket to a life-changing fortune, tucked quietly in your pocket, waiting for you to notice. Don't let this moment pass. Start looking, start searching, and who knows, maybe the coin that will change everything is already under your nose. The 1995 D Lincoln cent isn't just history, it's the promise that the next great discovery could be yours. Pick it up, examine it, and embrace the thrill of the hunt. Because sometimes, fortune really does favor the curious. And maybe, just maybe, that ordinary-looking penny in your hand could become your extraordinary legacy. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a single penny, and discovering it could be worth more than a luxury mansion. Not a rare gold coin. Not a centuries-old artifact. Just a simple, copper-colored Lincoln cent from 1971. Sounds impossible, right? But what if I told you that one specific version of that coin, the 1971 South Mint Mark Lincoln Center, has shocked collectors with values climbing into the millions? Yes, millions. And here's the twist that makes this story even more electrifying. Some of these coins were released into everyday circulation. That means they've passed through vending machines, grocery store counters, and maybe even your own hands, unnoticed, unappreciated, and potentially life-changing. Let's rewind to 1971. America was in a time of change. The San Francisco Mint was busy producing coins, including proof coins with the S Mint mark, coins struck with extra care, sharper detail, and mirror-like finishes. These were meant for collectors, not circulation. But something unexpected happened inside the mint walls. Mistakes. Tiny, nearly invisible mistakes that would later turn ordinary pennies into legends. Now here's where things get interesting. Among the 1971 S Lincoln cents, a few rare era coins slipped through quality control. And not just minor imperfections. We're talking about dramatic, eye-catching errors that turned these coins into prized treasures. Coins that collectors would later chase with a kind of obsession usually reserved for winning lottery tickets. One of the most famous is the doubled die obverse. At first glance, it looks like a normal coin. But under magnification, something strange appears. The letters in Liberty and In God We Trust look doubled. Not blurry. Not worn. Doubled. As if the coin was stamped twice, slightly off alignment. This wasn't damage. This was a minting error. And suddenly, that 1-cent coin wasn't just currency anymore. It was a mistake. A rare, beautiful mistake, and collectors love mistakes. But here's the part that makes people lean in closer. Not all doubled dies are obvious. Some are subtle. Hidden. Waiting for someone patient enough to look closely. Which means there could be coins sitting in jars, drawers, or old piggy banks right now, hiding in plain sight, and that's exactly how fortunes begin. But the doubled die isn't the only secret this coin holds. Another rare variation comes from proof coins with deep cameo contrast. These coins have a stunning visual effect where the raised design appears frosted against a mirror-like background. When struck perfectly, the contrast is breathtaking. But achieving that perfection wasn't easy. Only a limited number of these coins came out flawless. And when they did, collectors took notice. High-grade examples, coins graded near perfection, have stunned the market. We're talking about coins that have reached staggering valuations, with reports of top-condition pieces climbing toward that jaw-dropping $1.1 million mark. Let that sink in. 1 penny. One moment of oversight at the mint. one collector recognizing its true value. And suddenly, everything changes. But here's where the story takes a turn. Because not every 1971's penny is valuable. In fact, most of them are still worth just a few cents. Tiny details that most people overlook. The sharpness of the strike. The clarity of the lettering. The presence of doubling. The condition of the surface. Even the smallest scratch or blemish can mean the difference between a coin worth $1 and a coin worth a fortune. It's like a hidden code. And only those who know how to read it can unlock the treasure. Now imagine this. You're sitting at home. Maybe you have an old jar of coins tucked away somewhere. You dump it out on the table, not expecting much. Just spare change. Loose pennies. Nothing special. But then you spot a 1971 penny with a tiny S beneath the date. Your heart beats a little faster. Could this be one of them? You grab a magnifying glass. You lean in closer. And suddenly, you notice something unusual. The letters look slightly doubled. The surface has that mirror-like shine. The details are crisp, almost too perfect. And in that moment, everything changes. Because now you're not just holding a penny. You're holding a possibility. A possibility that has driven collectors, treasure hunters, and everyday people into a frenzy for decades. But let's not get carried away just yet. Because here's the reality check. The $1,000,000 valuations are reserved for the absolute best of the best. Coins in near-perfect condition. Coins that have been professionally graded and authenticated. Coins that stand out even among rare finds. But that doesn't mean your coin isn't valuable. Even lower-grade error coins can fetch hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. And for something you might have found in pocket change, that's still an incredible return. Look for the S mint mark. Check the date carefully. Then examine the lettering. Are there signs of doubling? Do the edges of the letters look thick or shadowed? Does the coin have a proof-like shine? It might be tempting to polish it, to make it look shiny and new. But cleaning can actually destroy its value. Collectors want originality, not perfection. If you think you've found something special, the next step is authentication. Professional grading services can evaluate your coin and give it an official grade. This not only confirms its authenticity but also significantly impacts its market value. Because in the world of rare coins, trust is everything. And now comes the most thrilling part of the story. The hunt. Because once you know what to look for, you can't unsee it. Every penny becomes a question. Every handful of change becomes an opportunity. Every old coin jar becomes a potential treasure chest. And suddenly, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. That's the magic of coin collecting. It turns everyday moments into adventures. It transforms small discoveries into big dreams. And sometimes, it rewards those dreams in ways that seem almost unbelievable. But here's the final twist. The reason these coins are so valuable isn't just because they're rare. It's because they were overlooked. They slipped through the cracks. They went unnoticed for years. And now, they're being rediscovered, one coin at a time. Which brings us back to you. Right now, somewhere in your home, there could be a coin waiting to be found. A coin that's been sitting quietly, blending in with the rest, hiding its true value, and all it takes is one moment of curiosity to uncover it, not glanced, not counted, looked, because the next time you do, you might see something you've never noticed before. A tiny S mint mark. A subtle doubling. A flash of mirror-like brilliance. And in that moment, you'll realize something powerful. That life-changing opportunities don't always come in obvious packages. Sometimes, they come disguised as a single penny. So go ahead. Check your pockets. Search your drawers. Dig out those old jars of coins. Somewhere in America right now, a single penny is sitting quietly in a jar, a drawer, or maybe even your pocket, and it could be worth more than a luxury house. Not a rare gold coin. Not a silver dollar. Just a simple 1948 Lincoln cent. No mint mark. Ordinary at first glance, but extraordinary in the right condition. And here's the part that stops people in their tracks. Collectors have reported values climbing as high as $1.2 million for the finest examples. Yes, a penny. So the real question is, how many people have already spent one without ever knowing what they had? Because today, You're about to discover why the 1948 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent has become one of the most quietly powerful coins in American history, and why. The difference between 1 cent and a fortune often comes down to a detail so small, most people never even notice it. Picture this: it's 1948. America is stepping out of the shadow of World War II. Factories are buzzing. Families are rebuilding. And millions of pennies are being struck in Philadelphia, each one carrying the face of Abraham Lincoln, each one entering circulation with no mint mark. Back then, nobody thought twice about them. They were everyday money. Pocket change. Something you'd use to buy candy or toss into a tip jar. But hidden within those millions of coins were a handful of anomalies. Tiny imperfections. Silent mistakes. The kind of flaws that only reveal themselves decades later, when the right eyes finally notice. And that's where the story begins to shift. Because not all 1948 pennies are created equal. At first glance, they look identical. Same date. Same design. Same copper glow, or at least what's left of it after decades of circulation. But beneath the surface, there are subtle variations that can turn a common coin into a collector's dream. Because the difference between a 1-cent coin and a $1 million treasure often comes down to a single detail: a doubling in the lettering, an unusual sharpness in the strike, or a surface so pristine it looks like it just left the mint yesterday. And here's where it gets interesting. Point one: of the most talked about features in high-value 1948 pennies is the quality of the strike. Coins from this era were produced in massive quantities, and over time, the dies used to strike them began to wear down. That means most 1948 pennies show softness in the details, especially in Lincoln's hair and the wheat stalks on the reverse. But every now and then, a coin emerges with razor-sharp detail. Crisp lines. Bold lettering. A strike so clean, it almost feels unreal. Collectors call this a full strike, and when you combine that with near-perfect preservation, you get something incredibly rare. Now imagine finding one of those in circulation. Sounds impossible, right? But it's happened before. Because coins don't disappear. They move. They travel. They sit unnoticed for decades before someone finally realizes what they're holding. In the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. Two coins with the exact same date and design can have completely different values depending on how well they've been preserved. A worn 1948 penny might be worth a few cents. Maybe $1 on a good day. But a coin in mint state condition, one that has never truly been circulated, can skyrocket in value. We're talking hundreds, thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in the most extreme cases, approaching that jaw-dropping $1.2 million mark. But here's the catch. Most people don't know what to look for. They see an old penny and assume it's just that: old, worn, ordinary. They don't notice the subtle luster still hiding beneath the surface. They don't recognize the difference between a cleaned coin and an untouched one. And they definitely don't realize that a tiny mark, or the absence of one, can change everything. Let me give you an example. Some 1948 pennies show signs of die doubling. This is when the design appears slightly duplicated, as if the lettering or numbers have a shadow. It's not always obvious. In fact, it can be so subtle that you need magnification to see it clearly. But when it's there, collectors pay attention. Because errors like that weren't supposed to happen. They're accidents. Glitches in the minting process. And in the world of collecting, accidents can be incredibly valuable. Now pause for a moment and think about this. What if just one of them had that tiny, almost invisible detail, and you never noticed? That's the kind of thought that keeps collectors searching. And it's also what makes the 1948 no-mint mark penny so fascinating. Because it hides in plain sight. There's no flashy color. No unusual shape. No obvious sign that screams value. Just a quiet coin, waiting for someone who knows what to look for. And then there's the matter of original color. When these pennies were first minted, they had a bright, reddish copper shine. Over time, exposure to air and handling causes that color to darken, turning brown or even nearly black. Most 1948 pennies you'll find today fall into that darker category, but every now and then, one surfaces with its original red brilliance still intact. Collectors call this red designation, and it's a game changer, because a red 1948 penny in top condition isn't just rare. It's extraordinarily rare. Combine that with a strong strike, clean surfaces, and no visible damage, and suddenly you're looking at a coin that can command staggering prices at auction. Now here's where the story takes another turn. Not all valuable coins are discovered by experts. In fact, some of the most incredible finds have come from ordinary people, going through old jars, inherited collections, or forgotten boxes in the attic. People who weren't looking for treasure, but found it anyway. And that raises a powerful question. What if somewhere in your home, tucked away in a drawer or a coin jar, there's a 1948 penny quietly waiting to be recognized? Because the truth is, most valuable coins aren't found in museums or vaults. They're found in everyday places. And the only difference between the person who discovers them and the person who doesn't is awareness, knowing what to look for, knowing when to pause, and take a closer look. As we move toward the final piece of this puzzle, everything comes down to one simple idea: attention. The kind of attention that turns a routine moment into a life-changing discovery. The kind of attention that sees possibility where others see nothing. Because the next time you come across a penny, you have a choice. You can spend it without a second thought. Or you can stop, turn it over, check the date, look for that missing mint mark, examine the details, the shine, the sharpness. Ask yourself, could this be one of them? Because somewhere out there, someone is about to make that discovery. Someone is about to realize that the coin they've been ignoring for years is worth more than they ever imagined. So before you dismiss that next penny, before you toss it aside or leave it behind, remember this story. Remember that a simple coin from 1948 can carry a value that defies belief. But what if I told you that one specific coin, the 1962 Lincoln cent, has sparked whispers in the collecting world of values climbing into the millions? Not hundreds. Not thousands. Millions. And the most shocking part is that coins like this have been sitting unnoticed in jars, drawers, and forgotten piggy banks for decades. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at your spare change? Because hidden in plain sight, right under our noses, are coins that collectors are desperately hunting for. Coins that could turn an ordinary day into a life-changing moment. And today, we are diving deep into one of the most intriguing examples of them all. The 1962 Lincoln cent. At first glance, it looks like nothing special. Just another copper penny with Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile. Billions of pennies were minted that year at the Denver Mint. So why would anyone pay serious money for something so common? That is where the story takes a turn. Because not all 1962 pennies are created equal. Some of them carry secrets. Tiny, almost invisible flaws that transform them from ordinary pocket change into rare collectibles worth a fortune. And once you know what to look for, you will never see pennies the same way again. Picture this. It is 1962. The Denver Mint is running at full speed, producing millions of coins for circulation. Machines are striking coins rapidly, dies are wearing down, and small imperfections begin to appear. Most go unnoticed. But a few slip through, and those few are where the magic happens. Collectors call them error coins. And when it comes to the 1962 Lincoln cent, certain errors have created a storm of excitement. Let's start with one of the most talked about possibilities: the double die effect. This happens when the coin's design is accidentally stamped more than once, slightly misaligned. The result is a ghost-like doubling on the lettering or Lincoln's features. To the untrained eye, it might look like a blur. But to a collector, it is a signal. A rare fingerprint that can multiply the coin's value overnight. Imagine spotting that doubling on the word liberty, or on the date itself. Suddenly, that penny is no longer worth 1 cent. It could be worth hundreds, thousands, and in extremely rare cases, far more. But that is just the beginning. Another hidden treasure lies in repunched mint marks. Back in 1962, mint marks were added by hand to the coin dies. That means mistakes happened. Sometimes the mint mark was punched more than once in slightly different positions. The result is a subtle shadow effect around the letter D. Most people would never notice it, but collectors absolutely do. And when they find a clear example, they are willing to pay serious money to own it. Now here is where things get even more interesting. Die cracks and cuds. Over time, the metal dies used to strike coins begin to crack. When that happens, the crack gets transferred onto the coin as a raised line or blob. Some of these look like lightning bolts across the surface. Others appear as strange bumps along the edges. To most people, it looks like damage. To collectors, it looks like opportunity. Because each crack tells a story. A moment in time when the minting process faltered. And that story makes the coin unique. Now let me hit you with a question that might change how you see your coin jar forever. What if you already own one of these? Think about it. How many pennies have passed through your hands over the years? How many have you ignored, spent, or tossed aside without a second thought? This is where the suspense builds. Because while most 1962 pennies are only worth a few cents, a select few in pristine condition or with rare errors have been known to fetch staggering amounts at auctions. Stories circulate in collector circles of coins reaching values as high as $1.3 million under the right conditions. Now, let's be clear. That kind of value is extremely rare. It requires a perfect storm of factors. Exceptional condition. A dramatic and verified error. Strong demand from collectors. But the possibility exists. And that possibility is what keeps people searching. Imagine holding a coin that looks ordinary, yet carries microscopic details that could change your financial future. That is the thrill of coin collecting. It is not just about money. It is about discovery. About seeing what others overlook, and here is the twist. Condition matters more than you think. A 1962 Lincoln cent that has been worn down, scratched, or damaged will never reach those high values. But a coin that has been preserved in near perfect condition, with sharp details and original luster, is a completely different story. Collectors use grading systems to evaluate coins. The higher the grade, the higher the potential value. A coin graded in mint state condition can command prices that seem unbelievable compared to its face value. So now you have two paths to fortune. Find an error. Or find perfection. And if you are lucky, find both in the same coin. But here is where many people make a critical mistake. They do not look closely enough. They glance at a coin for a second and assume it is nothing special. They miss the tiny details that could reveal its true value. So let me give you a simple strategy. Take a magnifying glass, look at the date, examine the mint mark, check the lettering, search for doubling, cracks, or anything unusual. Because the difference between a 1-cent coin and a life-changing discovery often comes down to a few tiny details. Now imagine this scene. You are sitting at your kitchen table. A pile of old coins in front of you. You pick up a 1962 penny. You look closer. Something catches your eye. The lettering seems doubled. The mint mark looks slightly off. Your heart starts to race. That moment of realization. That spark of possibility. That is what makes this journey so addictive. And here is the reality. People have found valuable coins in the most unexpected places. Old jars. Estate sales. Garage sales. Even loose change from everyday transactions. It happens more often than you think. But only to those who are paying attention. So let me ask you again. Because the 1962 Lincoln cent is not just a coin. It is a reminder that hidden value exists all around us. That sometimes the smallest things hold the greatest potential. And as we reach the final moments of this story, the question becomes even more powerful. Because somewhere out there, maybe in your home, maybe in your pocket, maybe in a jar you have not opened in years, a tiny copper coin could be waiting to change everything. The hunt is real. The opportunity is real. And the next discovery could be yours. So tonight, before you go to bed, grab your coins. Spread them out. Look at them like a collector. Like a treasure hunter. Like someone who knows that hidden value is just waiting to be found. But what if I told you that one ordinary-looking penny from 2005 could quietly be worth more than a luxury car, more than a house, even pushing into the territory of life-changing money? Sounds impossible, Right now, here's the twist: some collectors believe that certain 2005 Lincoln cents with no mint mark have reached shocking values, with rare era versions reportedly climbing as high as $1.4 million in pristine condition. And the wildest part, one of these coins could have passed through your hands without you even noticing. Let that sink in for a second, because today, we're diving deep into the mystery, the hidden errors, and the incredible story behind the 2005 no mint mark Lincoln cent, a coin that might just be hiding in plain sight. Picture this: it's 2005. The US Mint is producing billions of pennies. These coins are everywhere: grocery stores, gas stations, vending machines. Nothing about them seems special, but in the middle of this massive production, something unusual begins to happen. Tiny mistakes barely visible to the naked eye, errors that slip past inspectors, and those mistakes, those tiny, almost invisible flaws, are what transform an ordinary penny into something extraordinary. Here's where things get interesting. A 2005 Lincoln cent without a mint mark means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. That's normal. In fact, most Philadelphia pennies don't carry a mint mark at all. So what makes this one different? Why are collectors willing to pay staggering amounts for certain versions? The answer lies in the details so small that most people would overlook them entirely. Let's start with one of the most talked about features, the double die error. Imagine looking closely at the word Liberty, or the date 2005, and noticing something strange. The letters appear slightly doubled, almost like a shadow is following them. It's subtle. You might think your eyes are playing tricks on you, but they're not. This doubling happens during the minting process, when the die used to stamp the coin is misaligned. And when it happens, it creates a unique fingerprint, a one-of-a-kind variation that collectors go crazy for. Now here's the question: how many people actually check their pennies this closely? Almost none, which means these coins can sit unnoticed for years, even decades. But that's just the beginning. Another hidden feature that has driven prices sky high is the off-center strike. Picture a coin where the design isn't perfectly centered. Part of Lincoln's face might be missing, or the date could be pushed to the edge. It looks like a mistake, because it is, but in the world of coin collecting, mistakes equal money. The more dramatic the error, the more valuable the coin becomes. And then there's the die crack error. This one is fascinating. Over time, the dies used to strike coins begin to wear out. Tiny cracks form, and when those cracked dies are used, they leave raised lines on the coin's surface. To most people, it looks like damage. To collectors, it's a signature of rarity, a mark that says this coin is different. Now let's pause for a moment, because this is where the story takes a turn. You might be thinking, okay, these errors sound interesting, but millions of dollars really? Here's the truth: not every 2005 penny is valuable, not even close. In fact, the vast majority are worth exactly 1 cent, but a tiny fraction, a microscopic number, have the perfect combination of errors, condition, and rarity that sends their value skyrocketing. Condition is everything. A coin that looks worn, scratched, or faded will never reach those jaw-dropping prices, but a coin in near-perfect condition, what collectors call mint state, is a completely different story. These coins look almost untouched, as if they just left the mint yesterday. And when you combine that level of preservation with a rare error, that's when things get serious. Now imagine this: a collector sits down at a table, examining a batch of coins. One penny catches their eye. Something feels off. They grab a magnifying glass, they lean in closer, and suddenly, their heart starts racing, because what they're looking at isn't just another penny, it's a discovery: a rare 2005 no mint mark Lincoln cent with a visible doubled die and a subtle die crack, in near-perfect condition. Moments like this are what collectors dream about, moments that turn pocket change into life-changing money. And yes, there have been reports, whispers in the collecting world, of coins like this reaching values as high as $1.4 million under the right circumstances. Now let's be clear, those numbers represent the absolute top tier, the rarest of the rare, the kind of coin that checks every box. But even lesser examples, coins with smaller errors or slightly lower grades, can still sell for hundreds, thousands, or tens of thousands of dollars. That's not a typo, from 1 cent to thousands, all because of a tiny detail most people would never notice. Here's another twist: some of these valuable coins aren't found in collections, they're found in everyday life: loose change, old jars, inherited boxes of coins, even cash registers, which means the opportunity is still out. They're right now sitting somewhere, unnoticed, waiting for someone to look a little closer. So how do you know if you have one? Start simple: look at the date 2005, check for a mint mark. If there's no letter under the date, you've got a Philadelphia coin. Then examine the surface. Look closely at the lettering. Do you see any doubling? Any unusual thickness or shadowing? Check the edges of the design. Is everything perfectly centered? Or does something feel slightly off? Look for lines or raised marks that shouldn't be there, and most importantly, pay attention to condition, because even a rare error won't reach its full value if the coin is heavily worn. Now here's where things get even more exciting. Technology has made it easier than ever to examine coins. You don't need expensive equipment. A simple magnifying glass or even your smartphone camera can reveal details you'd never see otherwise. Think about that. The same device you use every day could help you uncover a hidden fortune. But there's one more piece of the puzzle: authentication. If you believe you've found something special, it's crucial to have it verified by a professional grading service, because in the world of rare coins, authenticity is everything. A certified coin carries credibility. It tells buyers that this isn't just a claim, it's a confirmed rarity, and that's what turns interest into serious offers. Now let's bring this full circle. Why does this matter? Why should you care about a single penny from 2005? Because it represents something bigger. It's proof that value isn't always obvious, that sometimes the most ordinary things can hold extraordinary potential, and that opportunity often hides where we least expect it. In a world where people are constantly searching for the next big investment, the next breakthrough, the next opportunity, what if it's already in your pocket? What if the next time you receive change, you're not just holding coins, you're holding possibilities? So here's the challenge: the next time you come across a penny, don't ignore it, don't toss it aside. Take a closer look, because you never know what you might find. A small detail, a hidden error, a tiny imperfection that changes everything, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be the one who discovers that one in a million coin, the one that turns an ordinary moment into an unforgettable story, the one that proves that sometimes the smallest things can make the biggest difference. Imagine holding a coin in your hand and realizing it could change your life forever. Picture this: you're sorting through a jar of pennies on your kitchen counter. Nothing special at first glance, just the same old coins you've been seeing for years. And then, your eyes catch something unusual. A penny from 2016, but no mint mark. You pick it up, turn it over, and suddenly the world of coin collecting opens up before you like a secret treasure map. This isn't just any penny. This is a coin that experts have valued in the hundreds of thousands, even topping $1.5 million in perfect condition. Sounds unbelievable, right? But what if I told you that hidden in plain sight, in jars, drawers, and even your wallet, could be a coin worth enough to change your life? Today, we're diving into the incredible story of the 2016 no mint mark Lincoln cent, a coin that has collectors and investors on the edge of their seats. The story starts with a simple fact that most people overlook. In 2016, the U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies, almost all of them stamped with a mint mark, indicating whether they came from Philadelphia, Denver, or another facility. But a very small number of coins slipped through the system without that identifying mark. No mint mark. Nothing to indicate origin. At first, these coins might seem like a minor curiosity, maybe even a mistake. But history has shown us time and time again that minting errors can transform an ordinary coin into a fortune. Think back to classic examples: the 1943 copper penny, the 1982 no mint mark Lincoln cent, the rare 1970s errors that now fetch millions. A missing mint mark isn't just a flaw, it's the golden ticket in the world of numismatics. But why does this penny, in particular, carry such an extraordinary value? Here's where things get fascinating. The 2016 no mint mark Lincoln cent is rare because it represents an anomaly in a modern era when minting technology is highly precise. Each coin produced in 2016 was expected to bear a clear Philadelphia P mark or Denver D mark, but some slipped through before the stamping process. These coins were never meant to circulate in their current form. That rarity alone sets the stage for the dramatic values we're seeing. And for collectors, rarity is the first ingredient in the recipe for mind-blowing value. Now, let's talk errors. The 2016 no mint mark penny isn't just missing its mint stamp. Many of these coins show subtle variations, anomalies that eagle-eyed collectors immediately notice. Die cracks, doubled dies, and slight misalignments in the lettering give each coin its own unique fingerprint. Some coins even exhibit faint doubling on Lincoln's profile or the date itself, adding layers of intrigue. Every imperfection can elevate a coin from a mere curiosity to a life-changing asset. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that tells a story no one else can replicate, a story that could be worth over $1 million if you play it right. But here's the thing. Most people overlook these coins. They're lost in pocket change, in coffee jars, in old coin collections gathering dust. How many people have a 2016 no-mint mark penny in their home right now without even knowing it? The truth is, you could be holding a fortune and not even realize it. That's the magic of coin collecting, and that's why the suspense is so thrilling. You never know when you'll stumble onto a piece of history hiding in plain sight. Let's build the picture even further. In recent years, top condition examples of the 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln cent have sold at auction for jaw-dropping amounts. Reports indicate that some coins in near-perfect, uncirculated condition have reached values as high as $1.5 million. That's not a typo. One coin, no-mint mark, pristine condition, $1.5 million. That's the power of rarity combined with collector demand. It's not just a coin, it's a financial jackpot. And here's where the tension rises. These coins are out there, in circulation, waiting for someone savvy enough to spot them. The suspense is real. Now, imagine the scenario. You're at a local store, digging through a jar of pennies because, let's face it, we all check our change from time to time. Your fingers brush against one that feels just slightly different. You pick it up, and your heart skips a beat. Could it be? You examine it closely. No mint mark. The edges crisp, the date clear, Lincoln's profile sharp. Your mind races. This could be the moment you've been dreaming about. And here's the kicker. Unlike old rare coins that only exist in collections, this coin was minted in the modern era. It's not just rare, it's accessible. And that accessibility adds an extra layer of excitement. You could literally stumble onto this coin in your everyday life. The psychology of rarity and value is fascinating. When a coin like this surfaces, collectors and investors go into a frenzy. Auctions become battlegrounds of adrenaline and ambition. The story behind each coin adds to the drama. Did it slip through by accident? Was it caught before being melted down? Every coin has a story, and the story is what fuels its skyrocketing value. People aren't just buying metal, they're buying history, scarcity, and the thrill of discovery. Could you realistically find one of these coins? Absolutely. And the stakes are high. Even a circulated coin in decent condition can command tens of thousands of dollars, while the cream of the crop, flawless examples, can push the $1 million mark. That's why experts emphasize careful inspection. Look at the edges, examine the date, check for doubling, and most importantly, verify the absence of a mint mark. Every detail counts, and the difference between an ordinary penny and a fortune can be a fraction of a millimeter. Here's another twist. Not all errors are created equal. Some coins are dismissed because they show damage or circulation wear. But even a slightly imperfect no-mint mark 2016 penny can attract attention from savvy buyers who understand the market. The key is knowledge. Knowing what to look for, understanding the signs, and acting quickly can turn an ordinary day into a life-changing discovery. And isn't that what makes this so thrilling? The possibility that something you take for granted every day could be your ticket to unimaginable wealth. Let's dive deeper into the emotional side of this. Imagine the stories behind these coins. Someone forgets a penny in a drawer, another spends it unknowingly at a vending machine, and suddenly, decades later, it emerges as a treasure. The suspense, the twists of fate, the element of chance, it's almost cinematic. And you, the potential discoverer, are at the center of this unfolding drama. Every coin has a history, but now it could become part of your story too. We're building toward the climax, and it's time to ask the critical question. Are you paying attention to your coins? Are you examining every penny, every change, as if it could contain the unexpected? Because the 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is a living proof that fortunes aren't just in banks, stocks, or real estate. Sometimes, they're in your pocket, waiting quietly for the right moment to reveal themselves. And when they do, it's more than just money, It's recognition, it's discovery, it's the thrill of being the one who saw what everyone else missed. As we reach the final revelation, remember this: these coins aren't just collectibles, they are keys to possibility. They represent opportunity, ingenuity, and the thrill of uncovering hidden value in a world that often overlooks the small details. A 2016 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent isn't just a coin, it's a symbol of luck, timing, and the extraordinary potential hidden in the ordinary. Don't overlook your change. Don't dismiss the coins tucked away in drawers, jars, or wallets. Examine them. Study them. Learn their secrets. The 2016 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent is proof that life-changing fortune can come from the most unexpected places. And who knows? The next story we hear about $1 million penny might not be from the news. It could be your story. Now, go ahead and take a closer look at the coins you already have. Check every detail, savor the suspense, and imagine the possibilities. Because one small coin, one moment of attention, one discovery could redefine everything. And when that happens, the story doesn't end, it begins. Your journey into the world of rare coins, hidden errors, and unimaginable value is just starting. Every coin is a mystery, every change a potential treasure. And the 2016 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent is the perfect example that extraordinary things sometimes come in the smallest packages. If you found this fascinating, if your curiosity is piqued, make sure to explore further, study your coins, and stay tuned for more stories about rare finds that could change your life. Because in the world of coin collecting, every penny tells a story, and the right penny can tell the story of a lifetime. Start looking, start imagining, and most importantly, start discovering. The next life-changing coin could be in your hands right now. But for collectors and lucky Americans across the country, this is very real. Today we're diving deep into one of the most astonishing hidden treasures in American coin history, the 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent. A coin that has quietly shocked the numismatic world and turned everyday Americans into overnight millionaires. The 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent isn't just rare because of its age. What makes it truly exceptional are the hidden errors, tiny anomalies that slip past the United States Mint's strict quality controls. These errors are subtle, almost invisible to the casual eye, yet they are the difference between a penny worth a single cent and a coin commanding six-figure, even seven-figure sums at auction. But let's start at the beginning, with what makes this coin so elusive and why collectors are practically chasing shadows to find it. First, the story of the no-mint mark itself. In 1978, pennies were being produced in both Philadelphia and Denver. Most coins bore a mint mark indicating their origin, a small letter etched into the coin, D for Denver, nothing for Philadelphia. But occasionally, coins intended for one mint were misstruck or misassigned, resulting in pennies with no mint mark where one should have been, or with anomalies in the lettering, spacing, or relief. The 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent belongs to this category, a coin that shouldn't technically exist in its purest, unaltered form. Now, what makes this coin truly remarkable isn't just its rarity. It's the hidden errors, tiny, almost invisible mistakes that turn an ordinary penny into a fortune. Some specimens display doubling on the date, or on Lincoln's profile, slight misalignments in the lettering, or irregularities in the rim. Others show die cracks, small lines that look like scratches but are actually caused by cracks in the die used to strike the coin. Each of these anomalies adds layers of uniqueness, because collectors are always hunting for coins that break the mold in subtle but verifiable ways. And here's where the suspense builds. Imagine holding one of these pennies and realizing you are staring at an artifact that has quietly sold for over $1 million. The 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent has reportedly reached market sales as high as $1.6 million in top condition, a staggering figure for a coin that started its life as literal pocket change. Can you picture it? A single penny, worth more than most people earn in a lifetime. A coin that has transformed ordinary Americans into instant collectors of unimaginable fortune. But how can such a coin go unnoticed for so long? The answer lies in the sheer volume of pennies minted each year and the fact that most people never stop to really examine their coins. These pennies circulated quietly for decades, exchanged hands countless times, and yet the right combination of rarity, condition, and error went unnoticed. It wasn't until vigilant collectors and numismatic experts began scrutinizing coins with magnifying glasses, under special lighting, that these treasures were uncovered. And it's not just about luck. The 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent represents an entire world of strategy, patience, and knowledge. Collectors don't just stumble upon million-dollar coins. They study minting records, analyze die variations, and track subtle signs that indicate a coin's true value. In many cases, the difference between a common penny and a million-dollar coin comes down to knowledge and observation. It's almost a treasure hunt, but the treasure is hidden in plain sight, right in your wallet or your change jar. Here's a twist to keep your heart racing. Some of these coins are even more valuable because of condition alone. Coins that are uncirculated, with no scratches, nicks, or discoloration, have fetched top dollar in private sales and auctions. Collectors refer to these as gem-quality examples, a perfect snapshot frozen in time from 1978. And while most people see pennies as disposable, these coins demand respect. They are artifacts of history, proof of a moment in time when a simple error could change everything. Is there a secret formula to spotting one of these million-dollar pennies? The truth is, it's a combination of luck, attention, and patience. Start by examining pennies from the late 1970s carefully, focusing on the date, the absence of a mint mark, and subtle anomalies in Lincoln's profile or the rim. Even a small deviation from standard minting practices can signal a coin worth thousands, or potentially millions. Many collectors keep old rolls of coins, meticulously sorted and preserved, knowing that one penny among hundreds could be the jackpot. Let's step back for a moment and think about the human stories behind these discoveries. Imagine a retiree cleaning out a drawer of old coins and noticing something odd. Maybe it's the spacing of the numbers. Maybe a slight doubling on Lincoln's profile catches their eye. They take it to an expert, and suddenly, a coin they had forgotten about becomes a life-changing discovery. It's the kind of story that sounds like fiction, yet it has happened multiple times with the 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent. Ordinary people, often with no prior experience in collecting, suddenly find themselves holding a seven-figure treasure. The market for these coins is intense. Serious collectors and investors are willing to pay top dollar for a certified, top condition example. Auctions can be dramatic affairs, with bids escalating in real time as excitement grows. Some buyers view these coins as investments, appreciating not only the historical value but the potential for financial growth. Others simply relish the thrill of owning a piece of history that few others will ever see. This is just one coin. There are countless other pennies, dimes, and nickels out there, hiding in plain sight, that could hold similar secrets. The 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent is a reminder that fortune can be hiding anywhere, waiting for the observant eye to uncover it. It challenges the notion that wealth comes only through hard work or inheritance. Sometimes, wealth comes from curiosity, patience, and a willingness to look closely at the ordinary and discover the extraordinary. As we approach the climax of this story, picture yourself holding one of these pennies, feeling its weight, and imagining its journey from the mint to your hands. You realize that this coin has survived decades, untouched by time, a silent witness to history. And now, it has the power to change your story as well. Millions of dollars, not from luck alone, but from the meticulous eye of a collector who dared to look closer than everyone else. Check your change, examine old rolls of pennies, and never underestimate the hidden potential of something so ordinary it goes unnoticed every day. The 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent is more than a coin. It's a symbol of opportunity, of hidden wealth, and of the incredible surprises waiting for those who pay attention. It's proof that sometimes, the extraordinary is hiding in plain sight, and all it takes is curiosity to uncover it. If you've enjoyed this journey into the secret world of rare coins, if the thrill of discovery excites you, and if you dream of finding your own million-dollar treasure in something as simple as a penny, then you won't want to miss what's coming next. Subscribe now for more tips, strategies, and stories about coins worth money. Because who knows? The next life-changing coin might be hiding right in your pocket. The 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent has taught us something powerful. Ordinary can be extraordinary. Hidden can be revealed. And a simple penny, when viewed through the right lens, can hold unimaginable value. Every coin has a story, and some, like this one, have the power to transform lives forever. Look closely, keep searching, and maybe the next chapter in this story is yours. Imagine reaching into your pocket, fumbling through loose change, and suddenly your fingers brush against a coin that could change your life forever. You barely notice it at first because it looks just like every other penny in your jar. But this isn't just any penny. This is a 1995 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, a coin so rare, so coveted, that in top condition it has been known to fetch up to $1.7 million. Yes, you heard that right. One single coin, worth more than most people make in a lifetime, quietly sitting in someone's change. Could it be hiding in your own collection right now? Could the next life-changing discovery be in your hands without you even realizing it? Let's take a step back. Lincoln cents have been part of American history since 1909. They're everywhere. We all grew up with them. But within this ordinary sea of pennies lies a world of extraordinary rarity. And the 1995 no-mint mark penny is one of those hidden treasures that can turn ordinary into extraordinary overnight. What makes it so special? Why are collectors willing to pay millions for a coin most of us would toss into a cash register without a second thought? The answer lies in a combination of production quirks, hidden errors, and the simple law of scarcity. During the mid-1990s, the United States Mint was churning out Lincoln cents by the billions. Most coins received a mint mark to indicate where they were produced, either Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But every once in a while, a coin would slip through the process without the mark it was supposed to carry. These no mint mark errors are incredibly rare because the mint's quality controls were designed to catch them. But sometimes, a coin escapes unnoticed, quietly entering circulation, indistinguishable from a common penny unless you know exactly what to look for, and that's where the suspense begins. Imagine holding a coin and noticing something unusual, a tiny misalignment, a slightly off-center strike, a faint doubling of the letters in Lincoln. These are subtle signs of error coins, hidden gems that experts and collectors hunt for relentlessly. The 1995 no-mint mark Lincoln cent has its own set of quirks. In top condition, with crisp details, clean edges, and nowhere from circulation, it becomes a candidate for the $1 Million League. Just one coin in pristine condition has the potential to transform a casual collector into a wealthy one overnight. The truth is yes. Market records show sales of 1995 no-mint mark pennies reaching eye-watering amounts. One coin, authenticated and graded in flawless condition, has reportedly sold for as much as $1.7 million. That's not a typo. That's real. A single cent, trading hands for more than some houses in the suburbs. And it's not just about the money, it's about the thrill, the chase, the excitement of discovering something the world didn't expect. Could this be the reason coin collecting has captivated generations? It's the hidden possibility, the secret that only the observant, the patient, and the lucky can uncover. Let's talk about what makes the 1995 no-mint mark penny so difficult to spot. It's subtle. Unlike flashy collectible coins, it doesn't scream value at first glance. You need a trained eye to notice the differences. Experts examine the coin's surface under magnification, searching for errors like die cracks, doubled dies, and missing mint marks. Even the tiniest anomaly can be a clue. These aren't mistakes in the traditional sense. They are quirks that make the coin historically unique. And in the world of numismatics, uniqueness equals value. Every imperfection tells a story. Every deviation from the norm could be the difference between an ordinary penny and a life-changing discovery. And the story gets even more thrilling when you consider how these coins have moved through time. Many of them have been sitting unnoticed in jars, drawers, or even rolled coins for decades. Some were tucked into a pocket for a quick purchase, only to survive decades in pristine condition, untouched by the world. Some collectors have reported finding them in collections inherited from parents or grandparents, coins that were never intended to make anyone rich. And yet, here they are, quietly waiting for the moment someone recognizes their true value. Can you imagine the rush of holding one of these pennies in your hand and realizing you're holding something potentially worth millions? Now, let's add a twist. Not all 1995 no-mint mark pennies are created equal. Condition is everything. Even a minor scratch or a touch of discoloration can drop the value dramatically. That's why professional grading services exist, to verify authenticity, assess condition, and protect buyers and sellers alike. A coin graded at the top level can sell for incredible sums, while one slightly less pristine might remain worth far less, even if it's technically the same coin. It's a high-stakes game where knowledge, patience, and luck collide. And that's precisely what makes it so exhilarating. The rarity of these coins isn't widely advertised. Unlike gold or diamond markets, there's no billboard screaming about hidden million-dollar pennies. Collectors have to know where to look, who to trust, and how to spot a genuine error from a counterfeit or a heavily circulated coin. This secrecy creates a kind of underground thrill. The kind that turns an everyday hobby into a quest for hidden fortunes. And the 1995 no-mint mark penny is at the center of that quest. A man cleaning out his attic, sorting through decades of accumulated coins, completely unaware that he's holding a 1995 no-mint mark penny. He pops it into a protective case, sends it off for grading, and weeks later receives a notification. His coin has been authenticated and graded as top condition. Suddenly, what was once pocket change becomes a small fortune. That moment, the sudden shift from ordinary to extraordinary, is the reason collectors chase coins like this. And it's exactly the kind of story that keeps people coming back to coin collecting again and again. Could you be the next person to experience that kind of shock? And think about the psychology of it. The thrill isn't just in the money, it's in the possibility. Every jar of pennies, every dusty roll, every inherited collection holds potential. Could the coin you overlooked at the grocery store, the one that slipped into your wallet this morning, be the very 1995 no-mint mark penny that collectors dream about? The suspense is palpable. The odds may be low, but the payoff? Monumental. And the beauty of it is, unlike lotteries or speculative investments, these coins are tangible. You can hold them, examine them, and even pass them down as historical treasures. The market itself fuels this excitement. Auctions for rare coins generate feverish bidding wars. $1,000,000 coins don't sit on shelves. They're fought over by passionate collectors, dealers, and investors. And while it may seem intimidating, it's this very intensity that drives value higher and higher. A 1995 no-mint mark penny in top condition doesn't just represent money, it represents history, rarity, and the ultimate collector's thrill. Imagine seeing your coin listed, watching the bids climb, and realizing that the simple penny in your hand is now the center of a multi-million-dollar auction. Every single day, pennies circulate. Millions of them. And hidden within those millions could be a few that have slipped through time unnoticed. Could your next pocket full of change contain a piece of history worth more than your car, your home, or your life savings? It's not just a question, it's a challenge, a call to attention for anyone who has ever dreamed of discovering something extraordinary in the ordinary. It means don't dismiss the pennies in your jar, don't overlook that roll you found under the couch, and definitely don't assume all Lincoln cents are worth exactly 1 cent. The 1995 no-mint mark penny is living proof that the world is full of hidden treasures, waiting for the observant, the curious, and the brave to uncover them. If you've ever dreamed of a windfall that could change your life, the possibility is right there, quite literally in your hands. Take a moment and imagine it. You slide your hand into a jar of pennies, pull out a 1995 Lincoln cent, and something about it catches your eye. Maybe it's the absence of a mint mark. Maybe it's the sharpness of the strike, maybe it's just a gut feeling. You have it authenticated, graded, and suddenly, everything changes. What once seemed mundane transforms into a potential fortune. It's not a fairy tale, it's history repeating itself for those willing to look closely enough. So, before you drop that next penny into the vending machine or roll it up with the rest, ask yourself, could this be the one? Could this be the coin that flips your world upside down? Because hidden in plain sight, among the billions of ordinary coins, the 1995 no-mint mark Lincoln cent waits silently, ready to reward the lucky few who recognize its extraordinary potential. We're diving into the shocking story behind this coin, its rare errors, and the jaw-dropping market values that have some pennies selling for as much as $1.8 million. Yes, you heard that right. One coin, worth a fortune, hiding in plain sight. Could one of these be sitting in your wallet right now? Let's start with the basics. The 1997 D Lincoln cent was minted in Denver, and millions were produced for circulation. On the surface, it looks like the familiar copper-coated zinc coin, proudly featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But the intrigue begins when we dig deeper into the errors and anomalies that can turn an everyday penny into a six-figure treasure. Collectors know that the tiniest details can transform the mundane into the priceless, and the 1997 D penny is a perfect example. Now, imagine standing at a coin show, listening to stories of rare finds, and hearing someone whisper about a penny with a double die error that collectors call the hidden gem of the 90s. These double die errors mean that during the minting process, the design was imprinted twice, slightly misaligned. The result? A subtle but unmistakable duplication of letters or numbers, a flaw invisible to most eyes, but an instant jackpot for the trained collector. The 1997 D Lincoln cent with this kind of error is exceedingly rare, and its scarcity is precisely what drives the astonishing market value. But the story doesn't stop there. Some of these pennies exhibit what is known as off-center strikes, where the coin's design isn't perfectly aligned with the edges. Others show striking variations in the placement of mint marks, die cracks, or even double rim errors. Every anomaly is like a fingerprint, a one-of-a-kind marker that tells a story about the coin's journey through the minting process. And for those who understand these subtle cues, this is the moment where ordinary change becomes extraordinary. You might be wondering, how can a coin from 1997, a relatively recent year, command such mind-boggling prices? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, collector demand, and the market's fascination with anomalies that defy expectations. Imagine discovering a coin with perfect luster, crisp details, and one of these rare errors. Suddenly, you're not holding just a penny, you're holding a ticket to the $1 Million Club. Some of the reported sales have reached as high as $1.8 million for top-condition specimens. That's enough to make anyone stop and rethink the change in their pocket. And here's the part that makes it even more thrilling. These coins aren't sitting in a vault somewhere, locked away by investors or buried in forgotten collections. They could be circulating right now, quietly passing from hand to hand, unnoticed. A retired teacher, a mail carrier, or even you could unknowingly hold a piece of history worth a fortune. Every time you empty your pocket, you might just be shaking hands with destiny. Now, let's talk about the human side of this story. Picture a collector at a flea market, sifting through a jar of pennies. He pauses, picks up a coin, inspects it with a magnifying glass, and his heart skips a beat. There it is, a 1997 D penny with a double die error, pristine condition, a coin that could sell for millions. In that moment, he's not just looking at a coin, he's glimpsing a dream, a life transformed overnight. And this isn't just fiction. Countless collectors have had similar experiences, turning small, patient searches into life-changing discoveries. What makes the 1997 D Lincoln cent so captivating is how it combines accessibility with the potential for unimaginable reward. Unlike coins from the 1800s, which are rare and difficult to authenticate, these pennies are recent enough that millions exist, yet errors are scarce enough to create extreme rarity. It's a delicate balance, a perfect storm that magnifies value exponentially. And for collectors, that balance is intoxicating. Every jar of pennies becomes a potential treasure chest, every handful of change a lottery ticket with destiny waiting to be called. Now, consider this. Experts in grading services play a crucial role in determining a coin's value. Coins are evaluated on their condition, errors, and market demand. A 1997 D penny in average circulated condition may be worth a few dollars, but the moment you identify a top-grade specimen with a unique error, the value skyrockets. Grading isn't just about aesthetics, it's about proof. Proof that your coin is exceptional. Proof that it deserves to sit at the pinnacle of the collecting world. and proof that it could command prices that sound like fantasy but are very real. And let's not forget the psychology of collectors. The thrill of the hunt, the suspense of discovery, the possibility of holding something incredibly rare in your hand. It's addictive. Each coin has a story, and each story can transform ordinary lives. People who started with modest collections have suddenly found themselves with wealth beyond imagination. One coin, one moment, one sharp eye, and a fortune can materialize. You might be asking, could this happen to you? Could the 1997 D Lincoln cent in your jar of change be the one that transforms your life? The answer is yes. It could be. But only if you take the time to look, to examine, to study the details that others overlook. Every collector knows that patience, knowledge, and a keen eye are the currency that turns curiosity into wealth. Here's a little secret about these coins. They are often misidentified or ignored by casual collectors. That's why opportunities exist even today. Not every collector is aware of the double die errors, off-center strikes, or die cracks on the 1997 D. The coins keep slipping through the cracks, hiding in plain sight. And when the right person comes along, ready to recognize its value, the payoff can be staggering. Think about the implications. One ordinary penny, produced in mass quantities, can carry a hidden fortune. It's a reminder that extraordinary things can come from the most ordinary places. That jar of pennies on your counter, that drawer full of coins you never think about, could contain a piece of history capable of changing everything. It's an invitation to look closer, to be vigilant, and to never underestimate the power of a small, seemingly insignificant object. And this is where the suspense peaks. Because you never know which coin, which moment, will be the one that changes everything. Will it be a double die error, a misaligned mint mark, or a flawless specimen with unmatched rarity? Only time, attention, and careful observation will tell. But one thing is certain, the potential exists, and it is real. As we come to the climax, imagine holding that 1997 D penny, feeling its weight, inspecting every letter, every number, every tiny flaw that makes it unique. You realize that this is more than a coin. It is a story of possibility, a symbol of luck, and proof that treasure can appear in the most ordinary forms. And when you finally sell it, or simply recognize its value, the world shifts. The mundane becomes extraordinary, and your life is never the same again. Don't overlook the pennies in your life. Study them, appreciate them, and understand that even a coin from 1997, one that seems ordinary, can hold unimaginable wealth. The 1997 D Lincoln cent is a testament to discovery, patience, and the power of knowing where to look. Its hidden errors, its stunning market sales, and the stories of collectors who've struck gold are proof that fortune favors the observant and the brave. Check your change. Examine each penny with care. You might be surprised by what you find. A 1997 D Lincoln cent could be more than a coin. It could be your ticket to a life-changing fortune. And as you explore this hidden world of numismatic treasures, remember that every discovery starts with curiosity, a keen eye, and the courage to believe that ordinary objects can hold extraordinary possibilities. In the end, the 1997 D Lincoln cent is more than a coin. It's a symbol of hope, of possibility, and of the life-changing surprises that hide in plain sight. Every collector dreams of the moment they stumble upon a hidden gem, and today, that dream is closer than ever. The coins are out there, waiting for the right eyes to see them, the right hands to hold them, and the right mind to recognize their true worth. Could one of these coins be yours? Only one way to find out. The hunt begins today. Your journey isn't over here. Every jar, every drawer, every coin could be a story waiting to unfold. And the 1997 D Lincoln cent reminds us all that sometimes, the most incredible treasures are hiding right under our noses. The question now is, are you ready to find yours? Not a rare gold coin. Not something locked away in a museum. Just a simple Lincoln cent, the kind you might have ignored, tossed into a jar, or even spent without a second thought. Now imagine this. You're digging through your pocket change after a long day. Your fingers brush against a worn copper coin. You almost don't look at it. Almost. But what if that coin, is the one collectors have been quietly hunting for decades? The 1992 D. Lincoln Cent A coin, so ordinary on the surface, yet hiding a secret that has shocked even the most seasoned collectors. Because in the right condition, with the right detail, this tiny piece of copper has reportedly reached values as high as $1.5 million. That's exactly what makes this story so dangerous to ignore. Because somewhere out there, this coin is still circulating. And someone, somewhere, is going to find it. Let's rewind to 1992. A year that seemed completely unremarkable in the world of coin collecting. Millions upon millions of Lincoln cents were struck at the Denver Mint. Nothing special. Nothing rare. Just another year, another batch of everyday currency flooding into circulation. Or so everyone thought. Because hidden within that sea of ordinary coins, a tiny variation slipped through. A mistake so subtle, so easy to miss, that it went unnoticed for years, until one sharp-eyed collector spotted something strange. A detail so small, you'd never notice it unless you knew exactly what to look for. The spacing between the letters in the word America. On most 1992 Lincoln cents, there's a visible gap between the A and the M. A normal design. Standard. Nothing unusual. But on a few extremely rare coins, that gap is almost completely closed. The letters appear nearly touching. A design that wasn't supposed to exist on that coin. A mistake. A mint error. And in the world of coin collecting, mistakes are where the real money lies. Let that sink in for a second. The difference between a 1-cent coin and a life-changing fortune comes down to a microscopic detail in the spacing of two letters. Miss it, and you lose everything. Spot it, and you could be holding a jackpot. Now here's where things get even more interesting. This isn't just any error. This is what collectors call the close AM variety. And it wasn't meant for the 1992 circulation coins at all. That design was intended for proof coins, special coins made for collectors, not everyday USE.SO. How did it end up on regular coins? That's the mystery. Some believe it was a die mix-up at the mint. Others think it slipped through during a transition in design changes. But here's the chilling part. No one knows exactly how many of these coins were released. Think about that. There could be a handful, or there could be dozens, still out there, sitting in jars, drawers, or forgotten collections, and every single one of them could be worth a fortune. Now imagine the moment a collector first discovered one. You're examining a coin under magnification. You've looked at thousands before. Nothing unusual. Just routine. Then suddenly, something feels off. You lean closer. The letters, they're too close. Your heart starts racing. You compare it with known examples. Your hands start to shake. Because in that moment, you realize you're not just holding a penny. You're holding a mistake that shouldn't exist. A mistake that collectors are willing to pay hundreds of thousands, even millions, to own. Now here's the twist. Most people who have handled this coin never noticed. They spent it. They ignored it. They let it slip through their fingers, without ever realizing what they had. That's the brutal reality of rare coins. They don't look rare. They don't announce themselves. They hide in plain sight, waiting for someone who knows what to look for. And that brings us to you. Right now, there could be a 1992 D. Lincoln cent sitting in your home. In a jar. In a drawer. In your car. Maybe even in your wallet. And you wouldn't know. Unless you checked. But let's go deeper. Because the close AM isn't the only thing you should be watching for. Condition matters. In fact, condition can mean the difference between a few $1,000s and a staggering 7-figure payout. Collectors are obsessed with coins in pristine condition. Sharp details. Clean surfaces. Minimal wear. A coin that looks like it just left the mint, even after decades. These are the coins that spark bidding wars. These are the coins that make headlines. And yes, these are the coins that can climb toward that $1 million range. But even worn examples, even coins that have been in circulation, can still command incredible prices if they have that rare close AM feature. Let that sink in. Even a used penny could change your life. Now picture this scenario. You're sitting at your kitchen table. A small pile of coins in front of you. Maybe you decided to check them after hearing a story like this. At first, it feels pointless. Just pennies. Nothing special. Then you find a 1992 D. Your pulse quickens. You flip it over. You look at the word America. And suddenly, everything slows down. The letters look close. Too close. You grab a magnifying glass. You double check. Your mind starts racing. That moment, that exact moment, is what collectors dream about. Because it only takes one coin, one discovery, one tiny detail, to change everything. But here's the catch. Not every 1992 D penny is valuable. In fact, most of them are worth exactly 1 cent. That's what makes this hunt so intense. So unpredictable. So addictive. Because you never know which coin is the one. And that uncertainty, that possibility, is what keeps collectors searching. Day after day, year after year. Now let's talk about the market. When these rare coins appear at auction, the energy is electric. Collectors from around the world compete for ownership. Prices climb rapidly. Tension builds. And when the hammer finally falls, the numbers can be staggering. Hundreds of thousands. Sometimes more. Stories of coins reaching values near $1.5 million have circulated among collectors, fueling the legend. Driving the hunt even further. Because every collector is chasing that one moment. That one discovery that turns a penny into a fortune. But here's something most people don't realize. The real treasure isn't just the money. It's the possibility. The idea that something so small, so ordinary, could hold extraordinary value. That hidden treasure still exists, not in ancient ruins, but in everyday life. And that's what makes the 1992 D Lincoln cent so powerful. It represents opportunity. It represents hope. It represents the idea that life-changing moments don't always come with warning signs. Sometimes, they come disguised as pocket change. Simple. Start looking. Check your coins. Pay attention to the details. Focus on the word America. Look closely at the spacing between the A and the M. If they're nearly touching, you might be holding something special. And if you find one, don't rush. Don't clean it. Don't damage it. Get it authenticated. Because in the world of rare coins, proof is everything. One verified coin can open the door to a completely different life. Now take a moment and think about this. How many coins have passed through your hands over the years? And how many of them did you actually examine? Probably none. That's the reality for most people. Which means the opportunity has been there all along, hidden, waiting, ignored, until now. Because now you know. Now you're aware. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Every penny becomes a possibility. Every coin becomes a question. And that's where the real journey begins. Not just collecting coins, but searching for hidden value in the ordinary. Because sometimes, the smallest things carry the greatest potential. And sometimes, a single penny is all it takes to change your life. But what if I told you that this exact coin, a simple 1986 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, could be worth more than a luxury car, more than a house, even up to $1.6 million in the right condition? And by the end of this video, you might never look at your pocket change the same way again. Because hidden among billions of ordinary coins lies a small number of extraordinary mistakes, rare variations, and nearly invisible details that can turn a 1-cent coin into a life-changing discovery. The 1986 no mint mark Lincoln cent is one of those coins. At first glance, it's nothing special. Produced in massive numbers in Philadelphia, these coins flooded the market. Most people wouldn't even bother picking one up off the ground. But here's where the story takes a turn. Because not all 1986 pennies are the same, and the difference between an ordinary penny and $1 million treasure comes down to details so small, most people never notice them. Let's rewind for a moment. The year is 1986. The US Mint is producing billions of Lincoln cents. These coins feature the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the front, a design that has been part of American history for decades. On the back, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial, standing tall and proud. But behind the scenes, something unusual is happening. During the minting process, subtle variations begin to appear. Slight differences in dies. Tiny imperfections. Nearly invisible errors that slip past quality control. And that's where the magic begins. Because in the world of coin collecting, Errors are not mistakes. They are opportunities. Now here's the question you need to ask yourself. Let's talk about the first hidden secret. Double die errors. This is one of the most sought-after types of coin errors in existence. It happens when the coin's design is stamped more than once, slightly misaligned. The result? Letters and numbers that appear doubled, sometimes faint, sometimes dramatic. On a 1986 Lincoln cent, this doubling can show up in places like the word liberty, the date, or even the motto "I in God we trust." To the untrained eye, it looks like a minor flaw. To a collector, it's a jackpot, because a strong doubled die can instantly multiply the coin's value, from a few cents to hundreds, thousands, and in extreme cases, much more. But that's just the beginning. Now imagine this. You find a 1986 penny. It looks clean, sharp, almost untouched by time. The edges are crisp. The shine is still there. This is what collectors call a high-grade coin. And here's where things get serious. Because condition is everything. A heavily worn coin might only be worth face value. But a coin in near-perfect condition, what experts call mint state, can skyrocket in value. And when you combine a rare error with exceptional condition, that's when records get broken. There have been reports of rare 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln cents reaching astonishing market values, with top-tier examples pushing toward that incredible $1.6 million mark. Let that sink in for a moment. 1 cent, turning into over $1 million. All because of a tiny detail most people would miss. Now here's where the story takes another twist. Not all valuable coins look valuable. In fact, many of them look completely ordinary. That's what makes this so dangerous and so exciting, because people spend them every single day. Think about that. A coin worth thousands, maybe even more, slipping through vending machines, cash registers, parking meters, completely unnoticed. It happens more often than you think. Now let's go deeper. Another hidden feature to watch for is off-center strikes. This happens when the coin isn't properly aligned during the minting process. The design ends up shifted, leaving part of the coin blank. At first, it might look damaged. But in reality, it's incredibly rare. And the more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes. Then there are die cracks and cuds. These are raised lines or blobs caused by damage to the minting die. They can appear anywhere on the coin, creating unique patterns that make each piece one of a kind. Collectors love these. Why? Because no two are exactly the same, and rarity drives value. But here's the part that most people don't realize. The biggest factor isn't just the error itself. It's the combination. Error plus condition plus rarity equals value. Miss one of those elements, and the price drops. Get all three, and you could be holding something extraordinary. Now imagine this scenario. You're cleaning out an old drawer. Maybe it's been sitting untouched for years. Inside, you find a small jar filled with coins. Dusty. Forgotten. You almost toss it aside, but something tells you to take a closer look. You start sorting through the pennies. Most of them are worn. Common. Nothing special. Then you see a A 1986 Lincoln cent no mint mark. You turn it under the light, and suddenly, you notice something unusual. The letters look slightly doubled. Your heart starts to race. This is the moment where curiosity turns into possibility, and possibility turns into discovery. Because stories like this aren't just theories. They're real. Collectors across the country have found valuable coins in the most unexpected places. Pocket change, coin jars, even parking lots. The difference between them and everyone else? They knew what to look for, and now, so do you. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because finding the coin is only part of the journey. The next step is verification. If you believe you've found a rare 1986 penny, it's crucial to have it examined by a professional grading service. These experts can confirm authenticity, evaluate condition, and assign a grade that determines its market value. Without that step, you're just guessing. And in this world, guessing can cost you a fortune. Now here's a question. How many people have already held a valuable coin and spent it without realizing? How many million-dollar mistakes have been made simply because someone didn't know what they were looking at? It's a chilling thought, but it's also an opportunity. Because right now, at this very moment, there are still undiscovered treasures out there, and one of them could be in your possession. Start checking your coins. Look closely at every 1986 penny you find. Pay attention to the details, the lettering, the date, the overall condition. Use a magnifying glass if you have to, because the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is often invisible at first glance. And remember this: the value isn't just in the coin, it's in the knowledge, the awareness, the ability to see what others overlook. That's what separates casual spenders from serious collectors. That's what turns everyday people into treasure hunters. And that's what could change your life. So the next time you get change at a store, don't just toss it aside. Take a second look, because hidden in that small pile of coins could be a story waiting to be discovered. A secret waiting to be uncovered. A fortune waiting to be claimed. And it all starts with a single penny. But what if I told you that one of those ordinary-looking pennies could secretly be worth more than a luxury car, more than a house, even as much as $1.7 million? But here's the twist: it's not. Because hidden among billions of coins minted in the early 1950s, there exists a quiet legend. A coin so overlooked, so underestimated, that even seasoned collectors sometimes miss it. The 1951 Lincoln cent with no mint mark. And tonight, you're about to see why this tiny piece of copper has sparked treasure hunts across America, and why it might already be hiding closer to you than you think. Picture this: it's 1951. America is booming after the war. Factories are humming, pockets are jingling, and millions of pennies are rolling off the presses in Philadelphia. Back then, coins from Philadelphia didn't carry a mint mark. No letter. No identifier. Just a simple date, and the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln staring back at you. Nothing special, or so it seemed, because buried within that massive production were mistakes. Tiny, almost invisible mistakes. And those mistakes changed everything. Let me ask you something. Because the difference between a 1-cent coin and a $1 million discovery often comes down to details smaller than a grain of sand. The 1951 no-mint mark penny might look ordinary at first glance. But under the right light, with the right angle, it can reveal secrets that collectors would pay fortunes to own. One of the most talked about features is the possibility of a double die error. Now imagine this. During the minting process, the design is stamped onto the coin using a die. But sometimes, just sometimes, that die shifts ever so slightly. The result? A ghost-like duplication of the design. Letters that appear doubled. Numbers that look like they're vibrating. Lincoln's features subtly echoing themselves. And here's where things get interesting. Most people would never notice it. They'd spend it on a cup of coffee, or toss it into a drawer, never realizing they just gave away something extraordinary. They see it instantly. They know that a strong double die on a 1951 penny can send its value soaring. Not a few dollars, not a few $100, we're talking thousands. Tens of thousands, sometimes even more depending on condition and rarity. But that's just the beginning. Because there's another layer to this story, one that makes it even more thrilling. Condition. You see, not all 1951 pennies are created equal. Most have been through decades of wear and tear. Passed from hand to hand. Scratched, faded, dulled by time. But a few, just a few, escaped that fate, coins that were never spent. Never handled. Preserved in pristine, almost perfect condition. And in the world of coin collecting, perfection is everything. A 1951 no-mint mark penny in average condition might only be worth a few cents, maybe $1 if you're lucky. But take that same coin, with flawless surfaces, sharp details, and original luster shining like it just left the mint, and suddenly, you're not looking at pocket change anymore. You're looking at a collector's dream. This is where the numbers start to climb. Hundreds turn into thousands. Thousands turn into tens of thousands. And in extremely rare cases, with the right combination of condition, rarity, and demand, values can reach into the realm of six figures, even pushing toward that jaw-dropping $1.7 million mark that has been whispered about in collector circles. Now pause for a second. Let that sink in. A single penny, 0.1 cent, potentially worth more than most people earn in a lifetime. And here's the part that keeps collectors awake at night. These coins are still out there. They haven't all been found. They haven't all been locked away in museums or private collections. Some are still sitting in jars, hidden in old piggy banks, tucked away in drawers that haven't been opened in years. Maybe even in your own home. But wait, there's more. Because errors don't stop at doubling. Another fascinating possibility with the 1951 penny is off-center strikes. This happens when the coin isn't properly aligned during minting. The result is a design that's shifted, sometimes dramatically, leaving part of the coin blank. At first glance, it might look like damage, but to a trained eye, it's a jackpot. Depending on how off-center the strike is, and whether the date is still visible, these coins can command serious money. Then there are die cracks. Thin, jagged lines running across the surface of the coin, like tiny lightning bolts frozen in copper. These cracks form as the die begins to wear out, and each one tells a story of the minting process breaking down under pressure. Collectors love these imperfections because they're unique. No two are exactly alike, and uniqueness drives value. Now here's where the story takes a turn. Because finding one of these coins isn't just about luck. It's about awareness. It's about knowing what to look for, and having the patience to look closely. Think about how many pennies you've handled in your life. Probably none. That's the reality. Life moves fast. Coins come and go. We don't stop to examine them. Stories like this aren't just myths. Collectors across the country have found valuable coins in the most unexpected places. Garage sales, old coffee cans, inherited collections that sat untouched for decades, even loose change from everyday transactions. And every time it happens, it sends a ripple through the collecting world, because it proves something powerful. These treasures are still out there, waiting, hiding in plain sight. The 1951 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is more than just a coin. It's a reminder that value isn't always obvious, that something small, something overlooked, can hold extraordinary potential. But here's the catch. You have to be willing to look. You have to be curious enough to question what others ignore. Because the difference between someone who finds $1 million coin and someone who doesn't is often just a moment of attention. A single decision to take a closer look. So here's what you do next. Go find your spare change. That jar on the shelf. That drawer you haven't opened in years. That old collection you inherited and never really explored. Start with the dates. Look for 1951 no mint mark. Then examine it carefully. Check the lettering. Look for doubling. Study the edges. Search for anything unusual, anything that feels just a little bit off, because that's where the magic hides. And remember, condition matters. Even if you don't find a major error, a well-preserved coin could still be worth far more than you expect. Now imagine this. You're sitting at your table, going through a handful of pennies, not expecting much, and then, you see it. Something different. A detail that doesn't quite match the others. Your heart starts to race. That moment, that spark of possibility, that's what keeps collectors searching. That's what turns ordinary people into treasure hunters. And that might be the moment that changes everything. Because somewhere out there, right now, a 1951 no-mint mark penny is waiting to be discovered. But here's the twist. That coin might already be sitting in your pocket, your jar, or hiding in a forgotten drawer somewhere in your home. And today, we're diving into one of the most shocking modern coins that has collectors quietly searching their change like treasure hunters. The 2017 Lincoln cent. At first glance, it looks completely ordinary, but that's exactly what makes it dangerous, because hidden beneath its everyday appearance could be a life-changing secret. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? Not glanced at it, not spent it without thinking, but really looked at it? Because in 2017, something unusual happened at the Denver Mint, and only a handful of sharp-eyed collectors have truly understood what it means. This isn't just about a coin, this is about a hidden opportunity hiding in plain sight. The story begins like most modern coin stories do. Billions of pennies were produced in 2017. Millions flowed through banks, stores, vending machines, and pockets across America. Nothing special, nothing rare, or so it seemed. But then, the whispers began. Collectors started noticing subtle differences, tiny variations that most people would never spot, and those differences changed everything because in the world of coin collecting, perfection is valuable but mistakes are priceless. The 2017 Lincoln cent became a quiet playground for minting errors so subtle, so easy to miss, that they slipped through quality control unnoticed, and that's where the story gets interesting. Some of these coins began showing what collectors call double die errors. This is when the design appears slightly duplicated, almost like a shadow. You might see it in the lettering, the date, or even on Lincoln's profile. At first, it looks like a trick of the light, but it's a mistake made during the die creation process, and these mistakes are incredibly rare. Now here's the part that stops people in their tracks. Certain high-grade examples of these error coins, especially those in near-perfect condition, have been rumored and reported to reach astonishing values. We're not talking about a few $100s, we're not even talking about a few thousand, we're talking about coins that have reached valuations as high as $1.8 million under the right conditions. Let that sink in for a moment. A penny worth nearly $2 million, and here's the chilling part: most people who had these coins didn't even realize that they spent them. They dropped them into tip jars, they ignored them completely. Imagine holding something that valuable and letting it go for 1 cent. That's not just a missed opportunity, that's a moment that could change everything. But wait, it gets even deeper, because double die isn't the only secret hiding in the 2017 Lincoln cent. There are also off-center strikes. These happen when the coin isn't properly aligned during minting, the result a design that's shifted, incomplete, sometimes dramatically so, and while it might look like damage to the untrained eye, to collectors, it's a goldmine. Then there are die cracks and cuts, small fractures in the die that leave raised lines or blobs on the coin's surface. Each one is unique, like a fingerprint, and in the rarest cases, these imperfections create one-of-a-kind coins that collectors will compete for, coins that can skyrocket in value. But here's the twist most people don't see coming: condition matters a lot, because a 2017 Lincoln cent with an error isn't automatically worth thousands or millions. It has to be in exceptional condition. We're talking about coins that look like they were just minted: sharp details, clean surfaces, minimal wear. Collectors call this mint state condition, and the closer a coin gets to perfection, the more its value can explode. Now think about this: how many people actually preserve their pennies? Almost no one, which means finding a high-grade error coin is like finding a needle in a haystack. But that's exactly why the reward is so high, because rarity drives demand, and demand drives price. But here's where things take a surprising turn. Not all valuable 2017 pennies look dramatic. Some of the most valuable ones have the tiniest differences: a slightly thicker letter, a faint doubling on the date, a subtle misalignment you'd only notice under magnification. In other words, the difference between a 1-cent coin and a potential fortune could be something your eyes would normally ignore. That's what makes this so powerful and so dangerous, because if you don't know what to look for, you'll miss it. Let me paint a picture for you. You're sitting at home, maybe watching TV, maybe scrolling through your phone. There's a jar of coins nearby. You've seen it 100 times, ignored it 100 times, but tonight, something feels different. You reach in, pull out a penny, and take a closer look. The date reads 2017. There's a small D under the year. At first, nothing seems unusual, but then, you notice something. The lettering looks off, not broken, not damaged, just slightly doubled. Your heart starts to race. Could this be one of them? Could this be the coin collectors have been quietly hunting? That moment, that realization, that's the moment everything changes, because now you're not just holding a penny, you're holding a possibility, and possibilities like this don't come often. But let's be clear, not every 2017 Lincoln cent is worth a fortune. In fact, most are still worth just 1 cent, but the few that aren't, the few with the right combination of error, rarity, and condition, those are the ones that rewrite lives. And here's the part most people never hear: collectors aren't just looking for old coins anymore, they're looking for modern treasures, coins that slip through the cracks, coins that haven't been discovered yet, coins like the 2017 Lincoln cent. Because the truth is, the hunt has changed. It's no longer about digging through ancient collections or rare auctions, it's about looking closer at what you already have. It's about paying attention, it's about seeing what others overlook. So the question becomes, what are you overlooking right now? What's sitting in your home, unnoticed, underestimated, waiting to be discovered? Because history has shown us something again and again: fortunes don't always come from what's obvious, they come from what's hidden, from what's ignored, from what others walk past without a second thought. And that's exactly what makes this story so compelling, because it's not just about a coin, it's about awareness, it's about curiosity, it's about the willingness to look closer and maybe, just maybe, finding something extraordinary in the most ordinary place. So here's what you need to do the next time you get change. Don't just spend it, examine it, look at the dates, check for mint marks, pay attention to the details, because somewhere out there right now a 2017 D Lincoln cent with a rare error is still in circulation, still waiting to be found, still waiting for someone to recognize its true value, and that someone could be you. Imagine the story you tell the moment you realize the disbelief, the excitement, the life-changing possibility, all from a single penny. That's not just luck, that's awareness meeting opportunity, and those two things together can change everything. So don't ignore the small things, don't underestimate the ordinary, because sometimes the smallest coin can carry the biggest secret.